You're listening to the Northwest Showcase on 93.9 KPDQ, sponsored by Day Chiropractic, with our very special guest, Dr. David Day. Day Chiropractic is located at 3758 Southeast 122nd Avenue, which is between Powell and Holgate Boulevards. And if you check out the website, daychiropractic.com, you can find out some wonderful information, including Better Than a Bouquet, the $25 special, now through February 14th, which also benefits the Oklahaven Childrens Chiropractic Center that Dr. Day was discussing earlier today. And don't forget about this Tuesday night workshop coming up on February 18th from 6:15 to 7 p.m. And Dr. Day, I see you brought in some kind of interesting, colorful apparatus. So I'm wondering if I could maybe cut a hole in my sheetrock with that. I really have no idea what this thing is. It's as if you had an erector set and you mixed it with different power tools and clumped them all together. So what on earth is this apparatus?
Well, it is a piece of equipment. It's brand new. I spent my weekend at our state conference on chiropractic with some wonderful speakers. Now, I hadn't intended on buying a new piece of equipment for the clinic, but I am always keeping my eyes open for things, and this is called the pain eraser. And it was developed by a chiropractor, Les Feinberg, and I actually took one of his classes, and I was pretty impressed. He seemed quite knowledgeable, but that by itself wouldn't have been enough to pull me over the edge. I play upright bass and guitar, bluegrass and so forth, and I adjust, and I always adjust with my hand on the hand, and I've been noticing that I've got some forearm issues on my left forearm. So one of the things besides getting my neck adjusted is I would go for acupuncture on the forearm and things like that, and she would do gua sha, which is kind of scraping the muscles sort of a thing, which was, that was the best. I like that. It's natural. It's all that sort of stuff, right? I said, why not? So I sit down and I let him go ahead and try his little doohickey gadget. And so this is the pain eraser. So I'll hold this up, but if you want to see it, you probably have to come to the clinic. But you can hear it sounds like, now people are saying it sounds like a sander.
It really does.
And it does, right? You see, but it's got this variable. So, but when you put it here, I have two other machines, both have a percussive type of thing. This is going side to side on the fascial plane. And I'm going, you know what? That really feels different to me.
So this is on your forearm, right?
Yeah, well, because it's area that, because I'm basically healthy, right? But this is an area I've had some issues with. And what do you know? I went, wait a minute here. Because my fingers, they would move, but they didn't move smoothly like these fingers move. Now I'm right-handed, right, so I'm dominant, but so I got up and I said, wait a minute, that feels better even than the acupuncture. Wait a minute, that feels better. That hasn't felt like that in a very long time. And I'm going, huh. So it had my attention, right? So if you're a patient, you have an issue with something helps with what you're aware of as a need. So then I started just kind of hang around the booth, listening and watching how he interacts with other doctors who are coming by. And up was this young doctor, and he pays cash, like $2,500 for this stupid thing, right? But the guy pays cash. And as I'm listening, kind of why? Well, he and his wife had been treated the day before by this guy. They were so impressed that they bought one for their clinic like that the next day. Now they walked away, right? But it was that by that next day they said, you know what, this is something that we need to have. So it's kind of fun. So I'm kind of taking this all in, and so I finally said, you know what, this is something. If it helps, even if it helps one person or two people, somebody who's been struggling. So I was thinking, you know what, how many people have like bursitis or tendonitis, carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, plantar fasciitis. Anything, you go, wait a minute here. This could be a really useful thing for me to have at the clinic. And the nice thing is where my other two machines have a percussive type, one is more of a vibration and one is like an adjustment tool But both of those have percussive sorts of mechanisms. They go into the body. this, I don't have anything that's like this that goes side to side, like an oscillatory type of a movement. And I was talking to him, he says, well, it's not, and it's not just it does something, because he would do some muscle tests afterwards, and it was like, you know what, what was weak now became strong. So I don't know what happened in my body, but there must be some sort of connection between the fascial planes, between something where these get all kind of congested, bogged up, and knotted up, and things like that. And then when they work well, the nerves must sense it. The brain must know that it's that's working better, and it's stronger. So anyhow, so that's it. But this is one of the things now that I have. And the sound drives me nuts, but you know what? It's what it is. You know what I mean? So I don't care.
And this isn't the first method you've tried.
No.
On your arms when it comes to your music and the ability to use.
Yeah, and I've got a scrape on my vibrocussor. The thing is, I have an attachment that has a scraping tool. You know, so I can do that myself with the thing. But this was different. Because that one you have to do kind of Washong is like that too, where you have to have like a blade or something that scrapes the soft tissue. But that's physical kind of scraping it like that. This is like a vibratory, so it's like, I don't know what makes it different, but it had a different impact.
You felt it the first time, and apparently so did this other chiropractor.
Right.
Back at the conference.
Right, but it's not like the clouds part and the trumpet sounds. It's it's just okay. That's interesting, but then you get up and you go, wait a minute, whoa, that's kind of nice.
So when's the last time your fingers in your left hand felt as good?
They feel better now than they felt in as long as I could. I mean, for years, right? I mean, it's like they feel they're like kind of more alive. I don't know how to describe it to somebody else, and it's interesting to me. And and part of this is I'm now 57. So some things. One of the reasons I have 3 full days in my office instead of 4. Wednesdays I'm not in the office. Partly because it lets me, like I have band rehearsal on Wednesdays and church tonight and things. So I need to take some time for my own body so like tomorrow, I need to have had a day of rest so that tomorrow I can be fully on when I'm working with patients, right? It's kind of interesting. And then like I'll go in on Friday at 9 in the morning. Whoever needs to be seen on Friday, they have to come at 9. That's the only time I'll be there. Then I leave. Saturday, I'll be there at 9, but you have to be there at 9. If you come at 9:30, I'll probably be gone. But it helps me. This is a great, because I've been doing this, I think I started in 86. So we're talking about 33, 34 years in that time frame of doing this. But I love going to work now more than ever. We're helping people. It's really exciting to me to be a chiropractor. I mean, this silicone boot right here, I could even go right over like bony prominences. Like if I had to get into somebody's wrist or on the thumb or something like this, this thing goes over. It just sits, it goes whoop.
So this silicone boot that you're showing is
part
of the pain eraser.
Yeah, but if you're going to be on something like if you've got a shoulder or where you've got the bony bumps, but you want to stimulate that, you need to make it a little softer. If you use this thing, this is it doesn't matter. The harder thing doesn't matter when you're on a muscle, right? That's fine. But if you've got to get into where a muscle or what he was talking about, I haven't tried this yet, but ribs. If they've been coughing or they've got shallow breathing and stuff, I can come along ribs with this thing now, do some of that sort of stuff. And it's like, well, that's interesting. So we'll see how it goes. It's a brand new, and I refer to it as a tool, although my wife might call it a toy. But I keep having to explain, no, this is a tool. And if I wanted a toy, I wouldn't buy this. I have lots of other toys that I would love to have, So, but this is, trying to find ways to interact with people and have something that will help different people, right? That's because everybody doesn't respond to one thing. If I'm not a one-trick pony now, it's like, let's try to find ways to interact with people's bodies and help them heal. So it's kind of cool.
Dr. Day, are you ever pleasantly surprised when you try a method on someone that perhaps hadn't been tried before, and all of a sudden it just works like a charm?
Yes, but I also have to be ready for someone not responding. So it's always, you never know what's going to happen. So I have to couch it to a patient. I'd like to try this on you, but ultimately how your body responds to it is going to determine whether this will work or not with you. Are you willing? Would you like me to try this on you? And if people say yes, if they give me permission to try this, I'm excited to try it, right? Some people say, well, I'm okay with what we've been doing so far. Fine, right? I try to let the patients, I try to be a resource for patients and let them ultimately, though, control their process of healing. They have to be ready, because if I'm ready for it and all excited about it, but they're not there yet, it may be premature. They have to be ready. This is kind of the weird part about healing, right? Is if even the right thing done too soon or in the wrong order may not work. Think combination lock. The challenge with healing is finding the right thing for the patient at the right time for that patient. That's kind of you might have the numbers might all be right, but not in the right order. It still won't unlock. And so healing is kind of, we have to be thinking like that with patients, saying you're a combination lock, and I've got to figure out not only the numbers but the combination.
So, Dr. Day, do we, the patients, ultimately know what's going to work best for us, or are there times that you need to encourage us to try something different, like say this pain eraser?
Yeah, and I never know. Like in fact, I was going to talk a little bit because one of my patients was talking to me this week about a friend of theirs who lost hearing in one of their ears, and I was explaining to him, well, the first chiropractic patient had gone deaf, and that was how this whole thing started in 1895. And then I said, well, and actually, I've had a case where a girl was deaf in one ear. Now, so she, in the choir in church, she had to always sit so her good ear was to the choir, right? So, okay, so I know that, and I go, oh, great, maybe this will work. So I adjust her, and what should have worked, it didn't, her hearing didn't come, but about a month and a half into it, I make this adjustment, and her eyeballs open up because she can then hear the music on the speakers, because her deaf ear was up, right? So she normally does it when her good ear is down because she was laying on her side. And boom, she could hear. So what happened on that adjustment? I'd given that adjustment because I thought that was the one she needed, but I had done that for like a month and a half, and it didn't change her hearing. What happened on that day? I have no idea. And I don't know if it was different or if it just needed to summate and add up to be something that was enough, right? So a lot of times, even I don't know, so it's always back to you mentioned about being humble. You want to be confident, but you also need to have a humility and the doctor, and there's a saying that says the doctor within is more important than the doctor without. So I am the doctor without. The patient, the doctor within, the kind of the wisdom of the body. God gave us a body that has all these sensors, and those sensors exist to give input to the brain so that the brain can adapt to the environment, and changes in the environment can be responded to by your own, the kind of the wisdom of the body, essentially. And so it's really the stuff I do, I'm just hoping that your innate intelligence or the wisdom of your body will take and figure out how to heal what's wrong, right? And it's because we're made that way that this even works. And so if I started getting cocky, it's not because I did anything or fixed it. It's I just facilitated healing that came from within your own body. And so I always have to say, let's not get too cocky. Let's not think we know it all. Let's watch and see. And ultimately, I will show the patient, and I'll do what I think is best for the patient. But I'm always having to see, is this working? And it may be that what's working in an upper back and neck might be great, but she's still having trouble in the low back. Well, then what I have to do is I can say, well, too bad. I thought it was going to work. Too bad. Well, that's not what I do. I say, all right, we got to find a different way that's going to work better in this low back. And then I start going. I'll pull out some of these other things that are a little bit more unusual or that I think are alternatives for the patient. So anyhow, so it's kind of cool there.
Dr. Day, do we the patients need to be in tune with ourselves so that we know what to look for when it comes to pain versus the lack of pain?
Okay, so if all you pay attention to is pain, I would suggest that's a bad decision. But if what you mean by that is, after I eat, does my body did I feed it and fuel it well? Not what I wanted, not like the feeling of a candy bar, oh, that was great, but the feeling of eating a nice apple and that I feel fueled. So are you listening to your body and feeling for things that are really the right types of things you should be paying attention to? Are you noticing if you're flexible? Are you noticing your posture, that you're slouching, that you should sit up straight? Are you being aware of those sorts of things? Then if that's what you mean by that, yes, you need to be more aware. But I will say most people, from my experience, is they've kind of become kind of shut off to themselves. They often don't go to a doctor till it's the last thing. Nobody wants to come and see a chiropractor, right? I get that. And often when they come see me, they have to pay for it. If they go see their medical doctor, they just might have a copay or that sort of thing. So why do you people not come to chiropractors? There's lots of reasons. One of them is they're kind of on the hook for me. Well, one of the things I can do by doing these specials is it lets you get this expensive first part of it done, and then the adjustments are $50. So you can afford. Chiropractic is affordable. It's not inexpensive, but when we look at, I was at a conference given by, there was a neurosurgeon who gave a lecture at our talk. Well, he was talking about this, they do artificial disc replacement like in the neck. So, but that's like $50,000 for a student if they do one level, or $65,000 if they do two levels. He's all excited about how much better the flexibility is. I'm going, yeah, but that was $65,000. And then I think, well, if people would understand that if they would come in before they have too bad of problems, let me fix them up, we might be able to avoid, you'll have to spend some money, but if you do it and it avoids having to spend these huge numbers for these other surgeries, it would be well worth it.
Dr. David Day of Day Chiropractic, thanks so much for educating me today.
Yeah.
And speaking of numbers, don't forget about the $25 special, effective now through Valentine's Day, February 14th. It even benefits the Oklahaven Childrens Chiropractic Center. Better than a bouquet. That's better than a bouquet. Call now at 503-760-7572. That's 503-760-7572. And thank you so much, special guest Dr. David Day of Day Chiropractic, located at 3758 Southeast 122nd Avenue. Call Day Chiropractic at 503-760-7572. And thanks for joining the Northwest Showcase on 93.9 KPDQ, sponsored by Day Chiropractic.